I just got. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Britta.
I was just making a thing. I bought myself a dry erase board for my desk because I use so many Post-its, and I'm trying to limit the use of them.
Is that working?
It is actually.
Okay.
Except I'm using more Kleenex to wipe it off because the eraser on the marker is stupid.
So my mom teaches online, and she uses whiteboards fairly religiously. And what she has found works best is if you cut up a T-shirt and then which is super annoying to have these little bits of T-shirt in the wash, but they do work really well, and you won't go through as much tissue.
I'll have to try that.
Maybe it's more annoying that she actually cut up a good T-shirt to do it. But anyway, it does work. And that's another completely different issue anyway. Me and my mom.
You should have a sitcom, Ruth.
No, because then I'd have to like kind of sit in the whole thing. And I don't think
that's true. You would actually have to be there for it.
Yeah, I just and have it like actually documented in some manner, as opposed to it being ephemera for the universe.
Is Susan? Is that Susan Jones? And then Jennifer, I assume, is Jennifer Steffi.
It is Jennifer Steffi. I do know that.
Okay.
And I'm not sure about Susan.
Susan just replied in the chat.
Oh, Susan Jones.
Okay.
And Jennifer just replied in the chat.
Smiley face.
A Brown is Anita.
Yeah, we know
Yeah,
that.
we know. I heard that. Grown. Yes.
I mean, not really groaning. We just know who you are.
This one doesn't have boxes.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. If you would just stack them on the shelves where you can, and if it doesn't fit, put them on the floor by it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Or some of the guests, if you want to write down, if you want to put in the chat what library you're from, that'd be great. So I can record you in the minutes. Looks like we have a lot of guests today.
I'm going to take some, I did just send out the link in case.
That was totally Ruth.
It was me. It's like, well, I know that there are catalogers not cataloging. Maybe they want to come to the cataloging committee meeting.
I guess we'll wait a minute while everybody checks in before we start. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
What else do we have to do?
You could draft really belligerent letters to the Indiana State Library.
What good would that do?
Very little, but
a group letter, group heading to all. No.
Yes. Oh,
that
virtual
honestly
mimosas.
like it would do more harm than good.
I mean, I don't know that we've had enough of them that at this point, I don't know that it would cause more harm. We haven't had a lot, by the way. We have not had a lot at all. Bad ones. But I do, for the virtual mimosa, I do have something that's almost akin to it. It is work ready. And
Thank you. The last thing I want to do is make anybody at the state mad at me.
Oh. Even if you did, we would still do our best. Yes, Jocelyn. How could we ever be mad?
How could we be mad at Anita?
Never.
Oh, wait, it's early yet.
Sandra, you want to let me know when you're good to go?
Yeah, I'm good. You can go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where some of the guests are from, but that's okay.
we'll make an announcement throughout the meeting. Maybe they'll chat then.
Okay, sure.
And my apologies. I'm the only one in my department right now, and which means that I get to answer the door. So if I suddenly disappear again, please excuse me. Okay, so let's call the meeting to order. It's 10:03. Roll call. Do we? Will members please either say their name and where they're from, or put it in the chat box?
Anita Brown, Kendallville Public Library.
I'm Monica Boyer, Jackson County.
Sandra Osborne from Morrisville Public Library.
Ruth Fraser, Indiana State Library.
Bertha Dorsey from Thorntown Public Library.
Jocelyn Lewis, Indiana State Library.
Oh, good. We got some check-ins in the chat too.
I see Susan. I don't see Lauren, Christy, Josephine, or Mary Kay. But I do think we have a quorum.
And I suspect that a couple of them will, well, I think that Mary Kay was definitely planning to be here. She may be a little late.
Okay, sure.
If that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to have a lot all over the floor.
And those of you who are guests, if you could put your full name and the library that you're representing in the chat, that would be very helpful for the minutes as well.
My apologies again. Did we get done with roll call?
We did.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize.
Librarians have too many things going on.
I don't know what you're talking about. We just sit around here and
Crazy.
literally eat bonbons.
Okay, so has everyone looked at the agenda? Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll motion to approve. This is Bertha.
I'll second. Sandra.
Okay, great. The minutes, has everyone looked over the September 3rd minutes? And does anyone have any other? I know Sandra already made some edits, but does anyone have any other edits or additions?
Yeah, I want to thank Britta for proofreading. Appreciate the mistakes she pointed out.
I'm always happy to point out other people's mistakes.
Yeah, great.
Focus on anybody else.
Anybody want to, any motions to approve the agenda, the minutes?
Anita Brown will make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second. This is Bertha.
Thank you. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the minutes have been approved. I realized I did not ask for a vote on the agenda. Is that necessary?
Only if somebody wants to change it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then that brings up the Indiana State Library report. So Ruth, Jocelyn, you guys got anything for us?
So we're in the middle of an upgrade.
Really?
And there's a full cataloging freeze. And yeah, right. So one of the things that we will be doing, I'm not sure that this really impacts the cataloging committee, but it might, is getting some of the statistics that go into the annual report that will be run. Some of them do relate to the collection. I'm going to hold off a little bit longer just to, well, actually, I'm not going to hold off a little bit longer because it's September to September. So that will be done. We are still taking application packets for Anna's role at the state library as Evergreen Indiana coordinator and would encourage you to kind of amplify that message so we can get some competent and enthusiastic applicants for that. And that's about it for the Indiana State Library report. There's an upgrade going on, and there's a full cataloging freeze that we hope to have lifted maybe by today, more likely by tomorrow.
I was going to say, Lynn, I didn't see that you were on the call, so you're more than welcome to, but I got to say, I love your headphones.
Thank you. Hopefully it'll be lifted tomorrow. I don't know by the end of the day today, but because I've got another major issue, auto renewals and things like that are not working. So that's what I'm working on right now. I'm sorry, I was just ran something and then it just finished. So as soon as I can get auto renewals and things like that up and running, then cataloging was my next project. That's the main thing. This upgrade has been rough, and I will freely admit it. We ran into some major issues in the upgrade process.
Not broken things, just things that took longer because of...
Took way longer than, because of the size of one of the things that took way longer than expected, it took me a day and a half to do, was one particular part of the update where I had to go through and update almost 90 million lines in the database. That one took a while.
And that was related to a fix in auto renewals. So,
yeah,
which is something that we will discuss at another point, not in this meeting, but the impact on things from
and
auto
several
renewal.
other, and because we had to update so much other things besides just Evergreen, there are systems and things that have been impacted that were not impacted when we upgraded our migration server to 3.4.4. We are slowly working through all the issues. I have a list of about 15 items long right now. So I'm slowly working through them.
Cool.
So we'll see how all it works out in the end. Hopefully I've just fixed that issue. I'm hoping this works.
Is there a way that we can perhaps table the notification stuff and prioritize the cataloging?
As this actually affects auto renewals?
No, I'm just saying table auto renewals and the notifications right now and go for cataloging so that we can at least write some things to the database, because right now I don't think we can write anything.
No, we can't. Is it possible to let us write to the database even if the Z3950 isn't working?
It's not just Z3950, it's something else. It's the ability to make those rights to the database.
I'll tell you what, if what I've got, what I'm doing right now does not work, I will table this and work on cataloging.
Okay.
Because
that sounds totally reasonable.
Because at this point, if the fix I just applied doesn't work, I'm gonna have to ask for Adam to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That sounds completely reasonable. Thank you.
Thank
you, Lynn.
I will flip my brain because I've got to go in the back end and figure out even what is going on with cataloging.
Right. And it's a completely different task. And yeah.
And I know I can flip tasks easily, but I have to get my brain around what is causing the back end not to be able to work. But yes, I will. If this doesn't work with it, I'm gonna have to get Adam to look at it anyway.
This may
So
be
we'll
an
see.
unpopular opinion, especially with this group, but it's my opinion that auto renewals should come first anyway.
Do you think?
I actually agree.
Okay.
That
I
affects
agree too.
patrons.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would like to be able to catalog, but the auto renewals are more public facing.
That's
This
right.
is Mary Kay, and I totally agree. We have
Okay,
to stay
fantastic.
inside.
I agree too.
Good.
Well,
It
We're
was such an unpopular
selfless.
opinion.
Look at you, catalogers, sensing and
Like I
going for
said.
patron services. Lovely.
It
Something
doesn't
is
just
happening.
impact, it doesn't just impact the patrons either. It's the staff that have to deal with the patrons.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And like I said, if the fix I just applied had worked, I would have been a happy camper. But apparently the fix I applied did not work. I'm just sitting here looking at the server who does all the auto renewals and everything.
Sarah, catalogers are used to taking the back seat. I don't know that makes me feel better, but.
And what I may do is step aside from this a little while and go work on the cataloging issue to see if I can just figure out what the cataloging issue is. And that may be something easy to fix because I have a feeling it's the same across the entire board.
Okay, well, we have faith in you and we're patient. We can wait.
Yeah, my brain is like, okay, so far into all this that it's ridiculous now.
I'm sure.
All right, so that's where we're at. I'm gonna mute myself back and get back to working so I can just listen in for the rest of y'all.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that brings us to our training reports. Are you going to do that, Ruth?
Yeah. Except for I was looking back at what Anna had reported last time, and I don't have the same statistics. So I'll make sure to have that the next time. But I will say that we have the advanced cataloging class tomorrow. And I'm hopeful that we can really look at a couple of the new interfaces and the new features. So if not, I can at least point at the buttons that are supposed to work, and which I couldn't do before. So that is definitely a move in the right direction. It will be a shorter class than it has been traditionally because, as I have gone through it several times now, there's so much duplication between basic cataloging and advanced cataloging, the classes. And while I do understand that to a degree, I think it's wasted time. I think it generally ends up being about 2 hours of wasted time that could be used working or paying attention, because once somebody realizes that their time is being wasted, they zone out as well. So it'll be about 3 hours tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and then we will move forward. One of the things that I had hoped to have going was the asynchronous thing. The upgrade and Anna leaving have kind of thrown some wrenches into several things, but they've also caused me to reevaluate some things. So I hope to have some more defined thoughts, language to present to both the cataloging committee and the executive committee very soon, related to my reevaluation thoughts. And that's it for now. Yeah, as I say, I actually added something to the new business down there, so.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
Okay. If that's all about your training, we'll move on to unfinished business.
Are there any questions about it?
Oh, sorry.
I mean, does anybody want me to say anything more about training or the state library stuff?
So I guess I have a question because
Sure.
I was reading the chat while you were talking, so I might have missed you say this. The thing tomorrow is still going to be beneficial to those of us who have taken the
Yes.
advanced cataloging, correct? Because
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
because
what
it's
I
going to
thought.
touch the new interfaces.
Right. Okay. I wanted to be sure.
Yes.
Okay.
And there are some new features in there as well, not just new interfaces, but some added functionality.
Okay.
So
great. Any other questions for Ruth about training?
And I'm looking over at chat too. And those of you who are in the audience, you can ask questions as well.
Yes, this is an open meeting. If you have input or questions, you're welcome to share those, either aloud or in the chat. But for now, we'll move on to unfinished business. But feel free to throw in questions anytime. The training manual. Anna had been using her whip on us to finish the training manual, and I, for one, haven't touched it in months. But obviously, now that we've upgraded, it's going to need to be changed anyway. It's my feeling that we can just table this and work on this, talk about this at the next meeting, since we're just now in the upgrade and stuff. But if someone else wants to go ahead and volunteer to start looking over chapters with 3.4, you can do that. Does anybody have any thoughts?
For tabling it. That massive can right on down the road.
I like it.
and I think that the manual structure in new business may affect that review as well, depending on where we get on that. So it may be worth at least kicking it down the road into new business even. So
okay.
Yeah.
Do you need a motion? Do you need a motion for that, Monica? Or do you think you've heard all of the aye votes already?
I think it's good. I'm going to make an executive decision that we're not going to talk about it right now.
I'm in.
In unfinished business, I put local subject headings. I know Anna was working on getting those authority records done, and I didn't know if those got done before she left. I was just wondering the status of those.
If you're asking me the status of those, I have absolutely no clue.
I'm kind of asking you or anybody, but I thought Jocelyn might know.
I don't know, but I can look. I mean, we can all look up what's in the authority.
What's it actually in the authority file right now, or in the locally established subject headings, or both?
I think it should be both.
Yeah.
What was the one we changed? That it wasn't the
undocumented
immigrants. Okay.
And then several related ones.
And I don't know that we changed it. I think we added.
Correct.
I think we just added, yeah.
There's undocumented immigrant fiction.
There was added. Britta, you got muted all of a sudden, if you're still talking.
Sorry, I changed whatever. Yeah.
And undocumented.
Yeah.
It is in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in the control set EGIN. So if you go into cataloging manage authorities, you can search to see what's in there by type. So if you do a subject search for undocumented immigrants, it shows you that they are in there. And then she also has the other related ones. So she did get that done.
Okay, so I guess it would be good to send an email to the list saying that it's now okay to be using those local subject headings and how to use them. Does that sound reasonable?
You're failing it in front of you. Jocelyn, what am I supposed to be doing here?
Are you in Evergreen?
Yeah, can you see my screen?
Oh, I'm looking at my screen.
Just type in undocumented immigrants.
Yeah.
So it doesn't just bring up
no, you have to
list.
go searching.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest interface, believe it or not. But if you go, it's in the middle of the page there.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Well, that makes sense because it probably uses some kind of
browse
functionality, so it would show up in the middle. And okay, I'll scoot that out of the way now.
So yes, we can let people know that they can use that. It just has to have the subfield 2 defined.
Right. I can send out the email, Jocelyn, if you'd like, but honestly, I think that you would be able to talk about it better. Would you mind doing that?
No, I can do that.
I would really appreciate it.
I can definitely do that.
Thank you very much.
And then if there's something that you'd like me to do to amplify that in some way, just tell me and I'll do it.
Okay. Great. That's great, Jocelyn, and I'm glad Anna got that done. So thank you. And thank you for looking for it, Jocelyn. Okay, so moving on to Sarah, the subfield, I believe it's in the cataloging manual, but I believe the subfield 2 is just local.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's
no, it's EGIN.
Yeah.
Is it EJ-IN or is it just EGIN without any? I can look it up.
I'll have to look it up because the other thing is I think it's all lowercase.
Okay. And this is in the procedures guide?
Yeah, that should be in there somewhere.
I think so. I think that Anna added that.
She did. I was just checking between that and the training manual. I will say she was pretty good about getting all those little bits and pieces.
Yes.
Before.
Yeah, she really did bust her butt to get some of
yes.
that taken care of.
Good. Okay, so I assume then, Jocelyn, you'll put the subfield 2 in your email.
I will show exactly how to do it.
I figured you would. Okay, well, thank you. So moving on, mixed media parts. We spent a lot of time talking about this last time. Now it's time for us to talk about it again this time. I was looking through the minutes and the other day and realized that it said that we were supposed to be discussing this via email for the last 3 months, but guess
how's that been going?
Apparently that got forgotten.
So not just because I wasn't on the list then, huh?
Yes, that was the only reason, Anita. So we have not discussed this since our last discussion. That being the case, does anyone have any new thoughts, or do we want to actually do it via email in the next 3 months? I would be willing to spearhead that and get that conversation going if we would rather do it via email than in a meeting. I do know that I personally, in my library, I do have some items that I'm hanging on to or have in a list someplace that are mixed media, and I don't know what kind of parts to add. And so I would like to fix those. But on the other hand, there are plenty of libraries that still don't have parts, period. So if our mixed media parts don't get applied or our decision doesn't get made immediately, it's not going to really make that big a difference.
Monica, this is Mary Kay, and I think I sent an email out to the group because I went ahead and took a format that we had in the manual that I felt was backwards, and that's CD, DVD combinations. I always look at those and think the parts should be alphabetized. That's my old librarian showing, but I agree that we need to have this discussion by email.
And did you send that email to the committee or to the listserv? And
I think I sent it to the listserv.
And has that been a while? Because I vaguely remember that.
I've slept since then, if that helps.
I will see if I can find that, and then if everybody's okay with it, I will start a discussion with the committee about that.
I'm good with that.
Okay. Mary Kay, I'm going to look to see if I can find your email, and if I can't,
I'll just resend it to the committee after this meeting.
Oh, that would be fantastic. If you still have it.
If I don't have it, I'll make it up.
Well, then that's fantastic too. Okay, so yes, we'll half table this. We were not going to discuss this right now, but we will discuss this, and this time we'll try and actually do it. We'll see what if 2021 looks a lot like 2020. I don't know about you, but I'm back to working from home some, so discussing parts is probably something that's easily done from home. Any other thoughts, questions about mixed media before we moved on to new business? Okay, so new business. Ruth, you want to talk about the structure of the cataloging manual?
Yeah, so I'm going through the procedures guide, and I will not put this here since it's in a different browser. So here you go, is my Firefox. This is what the procedures guide looks like, which you all are familiar with that. It is one continuous Google document that has, then if you open the outline view, it has what functions as a way to click through it, as well as a table of contents. And it's pretty easy to navigate. Whereas the training catalog, or training manual, excuse me, which you are all aware, has to start from this web page in the Evergreen web page. And then you have to select the chapter that you're going in. And then if for some reason information goes into another chapter, you have to go out of it and you have to find that chapter and get back into it. I would like to propose that we have this in one continual document. It's not actually changing the content whatsoever, but would make it more easy to navigate. And if you are willing, I would be willing to actually do that.
I was wondering who you were going to nominate to take care of this for us.
I would 100% do that.
It would be a really huge document.
It would be a huge document. So the other thing that, but it could also be such that what was showing up over on the side would just be the chapter and then maybe a few headings, because that outline view is determined based on the heading structure within the Google Doc. And as I was creating it, I would demo that so that it was still navigable. One thing that I do want to put you in mind of is the new documentation platform, the general documentation platform that Evergreen, the project, is using. So this is, it uses a renderer that renders ASCII doc files into this format called Antora. And so all of those things that were previously, again, a pretty ungainly type of documentation. Let me see if I can just give you a view of that real quickly. So previously, if you went to this, it's this thing you have to scroll down and get to. That, again, as Sarah says, that's a pretty long document that you have to navigate through. Whereas now with this new way that it's rendered, you have these collapsible things within here, and you can navigate that much more easily. I would like to consider the possibility of, in the future, not yet, moving to this type of tool for our manuals so that they become easy to navigate. And yeah, so they become easy to navigate is the easiest way to say that. And they also don't rely on necessarily using Google Docs, although we could still use Google Docs, but those would be more working files that then were put into this type of thing. But for the time being, all that to say, to put it into one, as Sarah says, large file.
Are the files in this format like searchable, like throughout, or is it still
in this documentation right here that I'm showing you? Yes. So it has this native tool here where you can search that is significantly more useful than the previous customized Google search that was being used. So yes, it is searchable. And I guess technically anything on a web page is kind of searchable if you use find and whatever, but more understandable for people who don't know all those little shortcuts and things.
I think it's a great idea. I think the main reason why it hasn't been done that way in the past is it's a really old document, and in the olden days that was just too much to have in one giant file that we were trying to either print or post on the website. So
sure.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm for it too.
I agree.
Okay, then I will take on that task. And before anything is changed on the website, I'll send that out to the committee to take a look and comment back on how it is navigated. There are still some outstanding chapters, and I have not gone through Anna's tracking to see who has those chapters or is working on them. But I will, because go ahead, Monica.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, I have written down someplace which ones that I'm supposed to be doing, and they're in the minutes or something, I believe. But we're probably going to have to start over, aren't we? Because all of them are going to need to be reviewed for 3.4.
They'll definitely all need to be reviewed for sure. I'm looking specifically at, for instance, the detailed table of contents. I suspect that that's something that Anna was probably going to be working on. Searching the Evergreen catalog. I don't know if that is something that's out there, if somebody is working on it. These chapters that are not live, and if they had even been assigned to anybody.
Well, I know
may not have been.
I see some of the ones that were assigned to me. I did not realize that the older version was not currently on the website. I thought they were still there.
So they are, if they were just in the staff client, they are still here.
I see.
But they're not in the web client.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I think that we probably want to probably reassign all of them. Do we? I mean, I would think so. Britta, I see you unmuted, and now you're. Yes, Britta.
I wonder if, since cataloging is still kind of down right now with all the upgrade, once we finish the upgrade, we can and everything's mostly or all up and running in 3.4. We can email and kind of divvy up the chapters that way and start on it without having to wait for the next meeting to assign each other or to assign chapters.
I was kind of thinking that. I think that's a good idea.
Would you like me to put together a kind of a wrangling document that we can pass around for that in the email that has the chapter so that people can kind of pick what they want to do?
If you're volunteering, sure.
I am volunteering. Wrangling is kind of my job, so.
If you want to include me on that, you can. That yes, I'm also working about half-time from home, and this is something that I'd be happy to contribute to.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Sarah.
it.
Yes, thank you, Sarah. So maybe Ruth, just give you and us some time to get used to the upgrade, and then maybe in a month or something send that out, and we can all start choosing some.
Sure. And I do see a comment here from from Josephine. Hi, Josephine. I'm looking at your face and then reading your text over here. That she has chapter 12, and we went over that. So I think that's probably something that I have access. Was it a Google Drive file? Okay. So I think I'm still kind of finding my bearings in what was previously Anna's file structure. So I'll take a look in there and see about that. Okay. That's all I had.
Anna, I'm sorry, Ruth.
Oh, wait, I was like, were you calling me Anna? That's cool.
I apologize.
No. I mean, I can be Anna.
I missed part of that discussion because I had to leave.
Because you have other things going on, yeah.
So I know that everybody said they were in favor of that. Are you going to put that in Google Drive?
Yes, for the time being.
Okay, that's
the bigger project is a bigger project and would require actually some database support for it. So.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure that was what the plan was. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for offering to do that, because one thing I love about the procedures guide is
you just go to it.
Well, but a Control F. I love to be able to use Control F.
Absolutely. Okay.
Okay. So anybody got anything else in regard to the training manual or the procedures guide? Okay, then Britta wants to talk about novellas, which I was pretty impressed that you've already put together some procedures for this, Britta. You're muted.
I'm surprised with me too, because words and I are not friends. But this came about. I think it was just the new Ivy Hill novella came out, and there's always been questioning from me about how we number those and if those should be in the 800 field, because there's a period usually involved, and is that even allowed in a subfield B in 800 or 830? So I asked the committee, and they said, well, maybe we should write something up. I was like, I'll take a whack at it. So this is what I came up with for novellas to add. I went for a regular version, so just a plain book, and then I added information like an omnibus type, because a lot of novellas come in like multiple authors write, and they all come in one printed book. So the second example is kind of crazy, but we have a lot of crazy stuff in the catalog too. So. And then I also added something at the bottom or after this part as something that we can talk about after. This was a thought that I had too, but I didn't discuss with you guys. It was just something I added. So.
Oh, so we're just looking at down through the last.
Yeah, after the Laurel K.
Okay.
The second page, that was just something that I was thinking about and meaning to ask if we should clarify, because I've seen this happening. And
yes, I think that's something worth talking about. So I appreciate that. But we'll wait.
Yes, yes, please.
Does anybody have has everybody read through Britta's suggestion? Does anybody have any thoughts?
So I read through it. Obviously, this is not the core part of my role, so definitely don't take this as any expert opinion. Britta, for somebody who's not friends with words, I thought you did really well with words, and I appreciate how example rich this is.
I took the cue from Anna from other
parts
of the procedure guide.
The only question I do have down here, and maybe I'm just missing, is there supposed to be a closed bracket after book 10 here?
Oh, yes, there would be.
Okay. I don't want to touch it. So
it would be after the word excerpt because it's the, for that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
In the first paragraph, in the paragraph after the first set of examples, it says novellas are commonly published as one book with each title. I wonder if it would be more clear if it was novellas are commonly published as part of a collection.
Yeah, because there's usually one main title and they all have their own with it. Yeah, that makes sense.
So just so I can clarify, it looks to me like you are recommending that if it's a novella where it's someplace not a normal number of the series, that you want to include that in a 490 and a 500, but never put it in the 8XX.
Yes, because, well, not because, but how would you format it?
Well, no, I mean, no,
yeah,
I think that's my
but
preference. I just want to make sure that I was understanding correctly.
Yes, that is what I am recommending.
At the risk of you know, getting another worm out of the can, I feel like I've seen prequels that are with 00.
Mm-hmm.
Has that ever been discussed? Is that correct?
I think you're right. There are series prequels with numbering like that, fractions and things of that nature. Just about any type of series madness you can imagine exists.
We've seen it. No.
Well, I'm waiting for, if there's multiple prequels, then we can have -03.
I have actually seen that, multiple prequels.
Just because you've seen it doesn't mean it's good.
I didn't say it wasn't.
Okay, just saying.
So then should we maybe include like prequels as something like in this as a, you can put it in a 490 and include a note in a 500 field, but leave the numeration out of the 800? Or is even like a 00 allowed in a 8XX field?
I don't know. I think that what you recommended is probably good, but I also think that I probably shouldn't have brought this up right now because it's not exactly relevant.
When has that ever stopped you, Monica?
When else would you have brought it up?
Yeah.
So what I think is that we should approve, if we can, Britta's things, and then maybe we can do a separate one for prequels. A separate section for prequels.
I think that's appropriate. Before we approve this, though, that sentence that Sarah was talking about at the beginning of that second paragraph, can we decide on what that language should be?
Novellas are commonly published as a collection with each title authored by a different person, or just with each title?
Do we
frequently authored?
What about as a collection in a single volume?
I like that. I feel that's with each title. And what was referring to the authorship?
Frequently authored by.
Frequently, yes.
And I have seen novellas actually published as individual novellas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, James Patterson. Sorry. I know it wasn't just James Patterson, but those little teeny books just came forward in my mind.
Well, and it's especially common in digital to be, just
absolutely.
But
why is the one line highlighted?
I don't remember.
Okay. Do we?
So that people will notice it.
I have no problem with things being highlighted, except for there's a similar line up in the first paragraph that's not highlighted.
I feel like it was something to remind me to say something as a note for me, but obviously it did not work. It was before I got the dry erase board.
Well, and do you think maybe because it says do not add a number to 8xx, but include a 500 note field with numeration or by alternative source, which I think that's saying essentially what you were highlighting yourself to say down there. Does that seem reasonable?
I'm happy with it if you guys are.
So do you want me to just remove that?
Yeah, you can.
I'm going to remove it slow in case somebody, like, anybody, my hand is so close to the backspace button. Okay.
You're going to take it out?
Yeah.
I thought you were just going to unhighlight it.
No, I was going to take it out.
Oh, well.
Because it's already says it up there above.
Well, yeah, but this is specifically about ones that are multiple books in the same.
Exactly. That's why I'm saying stop me.
So I think it needs to be in both places.
Okay, cool.
So just copy and paste that sentence. Or just unhighlight.
Yeah, just unhighlight.
That's. Boop. Okay, does anybody else have any thoughts, suggestions, corrections? Or does anyone want to move to accept this? The other thing is, I don't know if the motion needs to talk about where in the manual this is going to go.
Well, and that was going to be my next.
Gosh.
This is just a thought up for the future, but the prequels thing we were talking about, this could all possibly be one section of like non-standard series numbering.
Yeah. That's a good thought. That and put like under series, have a section on non-standard series.
The weird ones.
Right.
Annoying ones.
So I serve at your will.
Will you show us the guide again? Thank you.
Do you want me to go all the way back up to the top?
No, I was hoping you would scroll down so we could see the information.
Since the main point of it is numeration, I wonder if we should stack it under the series numeration tab.
That sounds legitimate. Can we see the bottom of the series numeration section, Ruth? Mm-hmm. Thank you. So do we want to put it just after? Oh, look, it's already got a thing about multiple titles in the omnibus section. Do we need to look at the omnibus section to see if that agrees with what's in Britta's new wording?
Yes, please. This is Mary Kay, and yes, please on that omnibus thing. And if you need me to be the one to look at it, well, I must have a fever. Okay. I could do that.
Are you okay there, Mary Kay?
I don't know. It's the volunteering thing. I've had a gun to my head for 9 months. I don't volunteer for things anymore.
So it does seem like, no. It does seem like this is the area. Print resources, multiple volumes or parts. Well, I think that this is definitely, whether it goes with omnibus or not, or after it, this guidance for specific materials is the correct place for it.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think Britta was right when she said it needs to go under series numeration. I was just
okay.
To make sure that whatever Britta wrote agrees with whatever's already in the guide.
If it goes under numeration, then I do think that it probably needs some type of similar link or something.
Oh, I think that's a good idea.
Whichever section you put it in here, and that you can make arguments either way for under numeration or under specific materials, the other place needs a reference to it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Let me go back to the numeration.
And then if we end up creating the non-standard series section, it's all going to be wonkified anyway.
True.
I don't have my hearing aid in. Did I hear the word wonkified?
You did.
I love
it. Is one of my, I love.
That's what
yes.
I needed this morning. Thank you.
Also, I like to use wonkadoodle.
No, that's wackadoodle, and that it refers to an individual.
Let's do this. So is there some type of consensus?
Can you show us the omnibus part again so that we can compare it to Britta's wording, please?
Possibly. Oh, apparently I'm going to link right into it. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want me to put these side by side on my screen?
That's up to you.
Well, no, I'm fine with it as it is, but if that would be helpful for somebody, I will.
Well, okay, so that's up to everybody else. I don't
I'm going to do it just in case somebody doesn't want to say something. Here we go.
Okay. Okay, so it looks to me like we can have both and they're actually complement each other, because the one in the omnibus is just about numbering each in the series, and the one in Britta's new language is about how to number each in the series. Does everyone agree with that?
Okay, here, that's what I'm seeing.
If that's the case, and if everybody agrees with that, then I recommend that we put Britta's new stuff in the series numeration with a link to the omnibus section, and that it would all work together.
That sounds reasonable to me.
If you need a motion, I will make such motion.
Well, Mary Kay moved. Would anyone like to second that? Kayla seconded. So can I have a vote? Everybody in favor of adding Britta's novella information to the series numeration section of the procedures guide? Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
An appreciative aye. Thank you, Britta.
Yes.
Yes,
Any
thank you, Britta.
nays?
And so it shall be done.
So it shall be done.
Okay.
Thank you, Britta. That's good information. I'll put on my to-do list to maybe think about prequels, and maybe we can discuss prequels at the next meeting, or is that okay?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Y'all are awesome. Just saying.
That's the only stuff we have under new business. Does anybody else have anything else that did not make it onto the agenda that they would like under new business?
Can we look at the last part, the second section that I did after the novellas? Maybe.
Oh yes, I'm sorry, I forgot.
Apologies for not adding it as. So I've been seeing when I catalog, especially audiobooks, people will add spoken word to an authorized heading and also include the authorized like number code with it making it wrong or defunct. So I kind of wondered if you want to put into writing for people not to do this, because it changes. It doesn't make or makes the authorized heading incorrect and not. So
I think that's a really good idea.
So do we need to have a link to the authorities section from this and then a statement in that area?
I would think that we might want to put it in the series section and then have a link to the authority information, but
Okay.
I don't know. Does anybody have any other thoughts on whether this is something we want to add, and do we want to write it like Britta wrote it? Do you have any other suggestions for wording or anything else that we need to cover while we're putting this in?
Technically, the example of authorized heading, if you're using it on an audiobook, it's not authorized for use for that. So
you mean that that we're not allowed to use the book series for an audiobook?
I mean, technically, yes.
Right.
I mean, that's what we've always done that. And I think we even had it in our manual to do that. But I mean, technically, it's not authorized for that series. So this is a little confusing because you're saying don't create a series don't create a series
That technically shouldn't exist anyway.
Well, I mean, it should exist. So if there's a audio series and it doesn't have an authorized heading, like we usually say, if there's not an authorized heading for a series, create one. And here we're saying don't create one.
Well, this is saying that there is an authorized heading, and then when you add that, it's creating another one.
But no, this is an authorized heading for a different series.
For a different format.
Yes.
Yeah, it's for a different format. Although whether or not a patron understands what spoken word means after
and I think
series title.
I think there's that, but I think there's also the fact that if a patron is searching by the name of the series, then they can search under this heading and get it in any format they want, or find all the available formats. I understand what Sarah's saying, but it seems to me like it would be more user-friendly to do what Britta is suggesting, and that would be our local practice.
The subfield S, it's a definite legitimate thing. It's not consistently used by anyone as far as I can tell. It seems like a lot of people do default to just using the regular print series title for items, even like within OCLC records and stuff.
And Jocelyn, you know better about authorities and Evergreen than I do. If I were a patron and if I searched for Amos Decker series, would I find both the print and the spoken word if this heading was in the record, the spoken word heading?
It should just be the other spoken words. But do all of our other David Baldacci audiobooks have the subfield S in the series title?
Right. Probably not.
Yeah. So it doesn't collate them really unless it's there. I mean, it has to be there in the field for them to collate and actually be usable.
I think my main thing was just getting at was that we can't use an authorized heading if we add something to it. That's, I think, the main thing. Maybe just I used the wrong example, But I think that's my main thing, was just, you can't change something that's been authorized.
Because the number in the subfield 0 is the same in both of these. Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
Yeah, yeah.
That's absolutely true. If, depending, whatever you decide about this, if people are going to use that, then that subfield 0 shouldn't be in the second one.
Yeah, it should be either it should control differently with a different number. I mean, that's ideally what it would do, but our authority file isn't set up to do that. It's just looking at those first two.
What do you mean looking at the first? You mean it's not looking at the subfield S anyway?
No, I don't think it is.
So then if it's not looking at the subfield S, does that mean that Evergreen sees these two headings as the exact same thing?
And maybe it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm looking for something. So when you search, I searched for David Baldacci, and on the left side, under series titles, there is a Camel Club dot spoken word. I'm checking to see if that is in a subfield S. So those do separate. Yeah, so it is separating or recognizing the subfield S when searching, at least if you use those. I don't know if, let's see. Okay. Yeah, and if you just look up Camel Club, it will bring up all formats, even if you don't put spoken word.
Britta, what type of search are you doing?
I did, the first one, I did just the author search with David Baldacci, and the second I did a series search.
Okay.
So it sounds to me like these are two separate discussions. One, we want to talk about whether we use, what kind of series statement we use with audiobooks. And two, how to use a subfield 0 and when to delete it and let Evergreen assign its own.
Well, Evergreen's going to assign its own anyway if it meets the logic of assigning it.
Will like in Britta's example here, would Evergreen, if someone left that second the subfield 0 in that second one, would Evergreen still like paste over that knowing it's a different one? So
if they left it blank, it would assign one automatically.
It would just reassign one, yeah.
And that's what I mean. Yeah. And that's what I assumed. So I think we probably need, because we've never really talked to the consortium much about authorities, maybe we need to tell people and codify that when you establish a heading or use it in a new record, it needs to not have a subfield 0. Because what if I just copied this from another record and pasted it in? I need to take out the subfield 0 so that Evergreen can look at it and make sure it's right?
Yeah, that's why correct. I've been encouraging people, don't worry about making sure that subfield 0 there is. If it matches up, Evergreen's going to automatically put that in there.
But if there's already one, but if there's already one there that's incorrect, it won't
remove it.
Right. But I don't know do people know to do that?
Oh, no.
So in the second example, I think it's going to automatically authorize and add that subfield 0 because it sees it's got the A and the T are there. And that's what that record is referring to. It's referring to the Amos Decker Baldacci series. I don't think the presence or lack of an S makes a difference. It sees those two things there, and it's like,
and I think that that's what requires some clarification, is if it's only looking at those first two subfields or if it looks at all three of them. Because if it looks at, or any that are in there, because if it looks at all three of them, then it should establish a different.
Well, and what I was thinking, I guess, is if I am establishing a new series heading, I might go to Britta's Amos Decker example, copy that line, paste it into my new record, and just replace the title information. But if I do that without taking out the subfield 0, it's going to be a problem.
I don't know if Evergreen would just auto-correct that.
Oh, if it would, that'd be fantastic.
I don't know.
I don't know the answer. It's unlikely. Usually, I mean, it's not going to just overwrite a thing unless it's explicitly told to.
And that's kind of what I'm thinking. So that's why I'm thinking maybe we need to say specifically to always remove the subfield 0, or to always remove it in special cases or whatever, to make it clear.
It sounds like we need some more clarification before that can happen, though, on what it's actually looking at. Unless, Jocelyn, are you super confident about it just looking at those first two subfields?
Yes, I think we can, because we have subfield V's in a lot of those, and it ignores that. Okay. It doesn't care about the volume number. I mean, we could maybe teach it to care about the subfield S, but that would be playing around with settings that I'm not super familiar with. So that's a Lynn thing.
Personally, I think it's better if it ignores the subfield S.
I agree. I think ignoring the subfield S would be better on the patron side of things.
So then are you cool with these two series that, I mean, are the same series but aren't the same series commingling? I mean, it is more helpful for patrons, in my opinion, but.
Mine too.
Send me an email to look up what actually is happening about the Series S, the
subfield
S. And I will get back to y'all.
Okay. That would be great. You have a few other things on your
plate.
This is very, very low on the.
Don't make this a priority.
That's the reason I said send me an email, and I will put it on my list. That's a very, very
I know that term.
I'll
put it on my list.
Set a catalog reminder to send an email 3 weeks from now.
And I'll look at what our settings are and see what is going on with the settings, and I will actually also look at whether if the subfield 0 is replaced when it gets authorized, when a new one
overwritten. You mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be great, Lynn. If you could find it out.
Send me an email about all that, somebody, and when I get a chance, I'll go look at it.
Does anyone want to volunteer to do that? I don't want Lynn
I'll
to get
do that.
Different emails.
I'll do it.
Okay, thank you, Ruth.
I don't care who sends me the email.
Well, I know, but I didn't want us all to do it, and then you have a whole file just of our
hey,
emails
Lynn,
about
remember that thing we had a conversation about? Hey, Lynn. Lynn, you there?
Yeah, I would say I would understand it, so don't worry about it.
Okay, thank you, Ruth.
Yep.
So in that being the case, why don't we table this discussion, and we'll put it on our old business for next time.
And we can separate it for like the actual like authorized heading reminder and then the whole audiobook.
Yes, I agree. Thank you. Well, thank you for bringing that up.
Lynn did have in the chat just a reminder about the PS5 and the Xbox Series S. I think that's referring to the icons for the catalog.
It's that and the 7 what
Right.
field that is, what we're going to call them, because the controlled vocabulary that Anna was using before, no one has updated it in like 2 years.
It's a 753 field.
753.
Yes, I know what field that is off the top of my head, people.
So looking at OCLC records that have started putting in PS5 games and stuff, they're not bothering to define the 753 with the subfield 0, which is what we had been doing. We just, I think, need to come up with what we're going to call them in that field, so that when we create the icons for it, it will link up and then it will show that icon when it says PlayStation 5 in the 753. I did have a library reach out because they're already buying these games. So for right now, since again, this is going to be something low on the list, my workaround has been for them to use the most generic form of the game, so that, because if there's no 753, it will just show up as computer software, which isn't super helpful. So I told them to just put in PlayStation, because most people are going to know that, the Miles Morales Spider-Man game is not for a first generation PlayStation. They will know it's really for the PlayStation 5. But yeah, we need to get those.
So what does that mean for us and the committee and this procedures guide? Do we need to change something, or we just need to wait until some things are changed in the Evergreen database?
It's a multi-pronged thing that's going on. We actually have to create the PS5, the Xbox Series as icons.
Yeah, which that's already on my list. I just haven't.
We need to get those icons on the system, and then put the controlled vocabulary in the system so that they would recognize the 753s. Tell it to go, if it has this 753, use this icon. Got to put that information in the system. But what we need, because of the general material type, whatever game data platform that she was pulling these things from.
Oh my goodness sakes alive. Sorry.
I was thinking we could pull that one. Just go to game metadata.
Can. I can't.
Just go to gamemetadata.org. Because it should pull that one in. Oh no. I'll go to it right quick.
But this isn't something that the cataloging committee needs to be acting on right now. We need to wait until you get some stuff done on the back end.
Well, yeah. Partly that. My internet's
this vocabulary is defined actually by this controlled vocabulary. Is that correct? Okay.
Right.
So it's not something that this committee has to come up with or anything like that.
Well, I didn't know if we needed to add.
No, we do have to come up with it because they haven't updated.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Okay. Well,
that's the problem.
Wouldn't it make sense to just kind of follow their lead? Sony PlayStation 5, Microsoft Xbox Series S.
The PlayStation one was easy because they have consistently called themselves the same thing and just gone up a number, but Xbox has just gone off the rails. So, because it's Xbox Series X, which we won't be able to fit on the icon. No way.
No, but we have some.
We have some
for that Xbox X and then PS5 on the icon.
Right. I have it pulled up on my computer. Where is it at?
Does it have updated stuff on there?
No.
I believe that it doesn't.
See, this is what it actually has for the Xbox right now. Is Xbox 361, and that's as far as they go with the Microsoft Xbox. And
I couldn't see that there was any action on that site for like, I think like about 2 years.
Actually, the copyright's still 2020.
Yeah, that doesn't mean they
Yeah.
updated the
But I
information
haven't-
though.
Right.
It's like it was a grad school project and they just graduated and went on to do other things. And it's like, but that was a really good.
But I
Right.
agree with Britta to follow the standard that's been established, and then.
So this is the basically PlayStation 4. They have actually, but it's the metadata registry that we want to look at.
Yeah, that's.
So you see how they have it just, I mean, this is the preferred label. That's what we want. We just want to make sure that we are consistent throughout our release, that the preferred label for the PlayStation 5 is Sony PlayStation 5. And that the preferred label for an Xbox is Xbox, Microsoft, Xbox, whatever.
And will it matter, because I know the Xbox One has Xbox One S and Xbox One X.
No, it's,
and then they
yeah,
were,
see, that's the whole thing. It's an Xbox Series S and an Xbox Series X.
Yeah, they're completely separate models.
Two separate models. The Series S is streaming only.
Yeah.
So we won't have to worry about the Series S or Series S when because there's not going to be actual physical games for the Series S. There will be physical games for the Series X. And that's the one that we really, and basically what we want, I mean, what needs to come out of the catalog and community is say, look, use these terms. Because that's what these terms are what's going to eventually, and I need to know what those terms are before we can actually put the data into the system once we get the icons created. Because I've got to know what that control vocabulary will be before I can actually put the icons in the system. Because if I don't know the control vocabulary, I can't pull that controlled vocabulary.
That makes sense.
So,
would Microsoft Xbox X 2020 work, or would that be limited to if they bring
no.
I'm looking up what people are using on OCLC, because that's a lot of people are just going to be bringing in records from other places for this. So.
And now for the Xbox, I mean, we don't want to put the 2020 because the Xbox Series X, yes, it came out in 2020, but most of its games and everything will be 2021, 2022. The Series X will be around 4 to 5 years. So now there may be multiple versions of the Series X, but it will all be the Series X.
I think that would be helpful though, if Jocelyn, as you're looking it up, if they're defining it as Series X, then even if there are new additions, then we don't necessarily have to change the that actual subfield, even as those things come forward.
Because Xbox Series,
assuming that the same software works on all of the ones that are coming out. So,
are you limited to a certain number of characters?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't think so.
I mean, not in this.
Not in the 753 so-called A. No.
The limiting of characters is just for the icon to actually make it visible on the screen.
Okay.
And that will just be Xbox X.
Okay.
Right. Because if you look at the Xbox One icon, it's Xbox, and I think it's the number 1.
Yeah. So is there consensus that Sony's PlayStation 5 is going to be Sony PlayStation 5?
That's definitely going to be it. Okay, I finally found one and it's 753 Microsoft Xbox Series X.
Okay, which makes complete sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's a stupid name for a gaming, console. It's very repetitive and it does not roll off the tongue, but.
I hate to say this, but I'm a cataloger. Is there a space between series and the letter X?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. We actually all thought about that. So. Nothing to hate about what you just said. But no, there isn't between X and box. Go figure.
I just
That's
put
correct,
the two.
Lynn. Yeah.
The two. What I'm skimming from y'all is saying this is what we're going to use.
Yeah,
That's
those
correct.
are fine. Yeah, good.
So Sony PlayStation 5 and Microsoft Xbox Series X.
And Xbox is capital X, lowercase b.
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
So Lynn, you will need to load that when you load that. So when do you need the icons from me?
I don't know. I got so many other things on the plate right now that it'll be Christmas before I get around to it. So
No, I need something a little bit sooner than Christmas.
it'll be Christmas before I get around to it. So
End of next week?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I don't think this needs approval, but it might.
I don't think so. I don't think we.
Well, I was going to bring up another point that has to do with the icons. All of them have a white background right now, except for some of the default ones, which don't have. And so I was planning to redo all of them so that they're consistent.
I don't think. I mean, those were created without our,
Okay.
our input. I don't think that needs a vote.
You want me to
Does
keep
anyone
doing
else-
things without your input?
I think we had a little bit of input, but they were already created, and it was just, oh, that's nice.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And we can't find the original files where these things were created, so that's another reason why, especially all the PlayStation ones,
We'll be good.
And the Xbox ones, because we've got to figure out. We want that the lettering to be consistent, the fonts to be consistent.
Yeah, we can't find the font, which is fine. It's not actually a particularly easily.
And I've looked for that font. I pulled up one of the icons and then searched for that font on that icon because you could do a font search.
It's actually a created font. I remember having this discussion many years ago when I was trying to actually make some marketing material. And anyway, this story doesn't need to be told right now.
But that was the main thing. I wanted to make sure we have a consistent, and that we tell everybody that we're going to use these are the control vocabularies we want to use.
Jennifer agreed.
Because y'all do the controlled vocabulary. I do not.
Okay, so does that, are we done with the icon discussion then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Because you guys accomplished something.
You accomplished it.
Well, I was gonna say we did, but I didn't do anything. So you guys accomplished something. Okay, any other new business?
Do you want me to add this to the agenda?
Okay, do we have
Monica?
to discuss or approve all of these new businesses that we discussed?
I'm not sure. They'll be in the minutes, and they.
Do you think that the addition to the procedures guide does need to have a vote for that? But I think we might have already done that.
I think we did.
Okay.
But yeah, we added. You mean with Brita's novella?
Yes.
We voted on that. We didn't.
Okay.
We didn't do anything with the authorized heading.
Correct.
Reminder just to table it to the next meeting.
I don't have new business, but I'm anxious to talk about conjoined items.
Do you want to do that today?
I don't care.
What if we put that off? It's getting late.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that okay?
Yeah, because it's
Oh, yeah.
already 11. It's already 11:30. So
Yeah.
And Anita, should we have that on the agenda for the next meeting?
Oh, it's just
Would you like to-
info. I'm just on fire for them. I love them.
Okay.
I'm excited to hear, but maybe not today.
Tell me more at a later date.
Exactly. Okay, so if we're going to not talk about Anita's conjoined items, the next meeting is March 4th, 2021 at 10 o'clock. Does anyone want to move to adjourn?
Can I ask, I assume that we're going to keep the same schedule for 2021 with the 4 meetings a year. Is that
yeah,
At this point.
The first Thursday of the month at 10 a.m.?
Is that a minimum that we do for a committee? Is that a minimum requirement of the number?
I believe that that's established in the bylaws as a minimum, yes.
Okay.
But it's not to say that you couldn't meet more often if you wanted, or have working sessions or such things. That they would need to, I believe, be published in some manner to the community.
Okay.
So
like if we did stuff like via email, we would just have to.
Oh no, if you're doing something via email, you don't have to publish that to the minutes.
Okay.
I don't know. No, it would just have to be stated in the minutes at the next meeting. Or if there was a plan to do it, it'd need to be stated in the...
Like the chapters and things like that for the manual. That we're going to work on it through. Okay.
Yeah, just the statement that you're going to work on it through email is enough, and that will be reflected in the minutes.
Okay. Thank you. Well, I'll motion to adjourn if there aren't anything else.
To have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. We will adjourn till March 4th.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Happy holidays.
Stay safe.
I'm going to have a lunch, and then I'll send out an update.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Ruth,
Yes.
can I grab you for a couple of quick questions before you're gone?
Absolutely. Do you want me to do another meeting, or you just want me to hang out till everybody abandons ship?
I mean, I'm happy to talk publicly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
The first of the questions is, during the cataloging freeze, can I do acquisition stuff? Because I've never had acquisitions during a cataloging freeze before, and I'm not clear on that.
I'm kind of glad I stayed on because the server who actually handles the acquisitions is currently having issues. Is also
server
the server.
6?
No,
So,
it's server.
no,
It's utility.
All right, good to know.
Actually, I think you do the acquisitions. It's just it's the push and pull of the EDI is not going to work. You can create, right. You can create your POs, but until we get utility back up and running, I've got Adam Bowling working on it right now because apparently it's really screwed up more than I can fix it.
So we'll just say acquisitions is not available right now.
I mean, you can actually go ahead and create all your POs, just not do the EDI stuff.
Just not activate them. Well, and if it's not an EDI account, I could do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the that's going to create items and whatnot, but that's fine.
Yes.
And obviously,
well, they say that it may, depending on, it's creating those stub records.
I
think that's one of those things where you need to try it.
Or not, because it involves importing records and creating items, which not.
Yeah, that's probably not going to actually be happening.
So.
Now, actually, if you're going to do a March batch import,
that's how I do it.
Go ahead and try that, because
I actually had Monica try that, and she said that it timed out and didn't go all the way through the process. I hadn't reported it back to you yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that we're able to write anything to the bibliographic database right now.
Yeah.
So, which that would be doing. That would be writing something to the bibliographic.
Right. So basically, I probably just need to hold off on acquisitions and
Yeah.
for the time being.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. The other question is our library the only one having this Chrome issue?
No, I'm having an issue right here as well. We're identifying. You can use Firefox, but of course, that messes with all of your print templates and everything.
Today, spend my day setting up
workstations on Firefox. Yeah,
like almost nobody has Firefox set up to use Evergreen right now.
Right.
So I'm probably going to spend the rest of the day setting people up in Firefox.
Yeah, which is going to cause printer issues and all of that, because all those things need to be reset for that as well.
The vast majority of people that are having the issues it's like on their laptops.
Oh,
so
yeah, but no, it's a pervasive Chrome issue. That's going to go out in the update.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That was the stuff I wanted to know about.
Okay.
Can I piggyback on Sarah's extra questions?
Sure.
Is there a way to see all of the workstations that have ever been registered under our branch? And like maybe delete the ones that are no longer, that are obsolete or?
Possibly, but I can't do that.
Okay.
Okay. You can run a report and report all of your workstations. If it's in one of the other.
I'm trying to go to Chrome, and of course that's not going to work.
Is the issue with Chrome, is that the one where like you press the link and it just is blank or?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we've had it too.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing in the system that says why it does this, why Chrome is misbehaving so bad. Because I've looked at all the settings and all the settings on the system are correct. And what's so funny is you can go to incognito and it works.
It's weird.
Incognito and Chrome?
Yeah.
I have not done that. I'll try that. Which you still have to set, well, you don't necessarily have to set up your workstations then. Try that. Try going to incognito.
You still have to set up a workstation.
I didn't have to before. It actually populated my workstations when I went to incognito and Firefox. Anyway, Sarah.
But so this is another possible workaround where it might be if people go to incognito and Chrome, they might be able to.
Let me try it right now.
Yeah, hey, why not? Because if I don't have to register like 20 workstations today, I would not be sad.
Okay, so this did not populate a workstation right there. So you would still have to register it.
And then,
but let's still see though. I don't care if it already exists. Let's see if it actually lets me see some of these screens I have not been able to. So no. Oh, yes. Fantastic. So in incognito and Chrome, it does work.
Weird.
It is super weird. I mean, we know that it's a caching issue anyway. But finding it and emptying the cache doesn't actually fix it.
Right.
No, because I have totally wiped my entire Evergreen cache out of my Chrome.
Uninstalled Chrome and reinstalled it, but I've thought about it. I'm like, don't do it. It's a little aggressive.
I think that I'm going to try tomorrow. I'm going to be back in the library, and this is affecting my desktop there. And so I think I'm going to try that there because I only use Chrome for Evergreen, and then I use Firefox for everything else, so that for exactly this type of reason.
Right.
So
well, and especially if you have to at some point open the OPAC and something else, and have the staff client running, then you almost have to have it in two different browsers, or you in incognito and not incognito.
And this way, like I could uninstall Chrome and reinstall it, and start from scratch, and I'll lose all of my evergreen
I was gonna
settings.
say you'll lose,
But I won't lose
lots
all
of
my
stuff.
bookmarks and
Right.
everything for my other life.
Correct.
The rest of my work.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm gonna try that tomorrow.
Okay.
Adding
It'll all
items,
be better soon.
adding items actually works.
Cool.
What works?
Adding items in volumes.
Oh,
So we can copy catalog now.
we like that.
Yeah.
But can we like edit
Don't edit
existing?
marks. Don't edit marks yet. I haven't tried that one yet. And
Can
I
we
haven't
edit
tried deleting.
items though once they're created?
Let me see. Let me change this one. I've got one I created that was just an odd title that who cares if we have another copy in the system right now. Yeah, you can edit copies. Let me see if I can edit its code number.
You should be able to. That's not a bibliographic thing. I mean, it is, but. Jennifer, we're testing right now to see if that. I'm going to do one more test, and then I'll put out in the update if we can go to a modified catalog freeze.
Yep, you can add call numbers and modify call numbers.
Can you delete that holding?
That's my next thing I want to try. It deleted my holding.
Okay, so I'm going to do another test before I say to go ahead. But if you all in this room want to test it as well, you're welcome to. And then if there are issues, just report those.
Outstanding. Thank you, Lynn and Ruth. Appreciate that.
Sure
Yes,
thing.
thank you for all your work.
You
just
sacrificed your Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay, we won't be editing the mark or the
no
actual
editing
bibliographic record.
Yeah, bibliographic records are another beast.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I will do some testing. I'm still going to eat something, and I will have an update out by a little bit afternoon.
Outstanding. Thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you, everybody. Are there any more questions before you go? I'm sorry. I shouldn't just like bail like that. Good? Cool. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.